Hey, you guys, what's going on out there? It's your girl, Pretty Sexy Driver, the brand, aka Stunner Assassin, and your girl is back for a recap slash review of the Bell Collective Season 7, Episode 2, which is titled Run in That Bell. Baby, from this title, and after last week's premiere episode of Poetic Injustice, I am ready to see what the Bells are getting into. And baby, what is going to go on in episode 2 called Run It in That Bell. Like, baby, that's a very interesting title. But y'all sit back, relax, like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below and let me know if y'all is watching Bell Collectives with your girl. So yes, y'all. As we get into the opening scene, baby, you know we are back at my girl Miss Carrie's birthday party. We're still celebrating it at the heights. You know, we ended with the men reading the poems and expressing themselves for the Love Jones theme party. Baby, everybody's sitting down, and you know, Miss Letitia's husband is up. He's reading his poem, and he gets to a specific part in the poem, and he's like, and you love me. Say you love me. And let's just say we get a very slight pause. Miss Letitia's not saying anything. She's holding her rose. The ladies are talking amongst everybody, like trying to figure out. And let's just say it's giving very real tense up in here. But after Miss Letitia's husband finishes his poem, he comes over and he talks to her. And, you know, she tells him that she appreciates him for what he did and showing his appreciation and reading the poem, but you know, she got a lot of things going on, and he was just like, she give me signals. She not really being open with him about like how she's honestly feeling, and you know, hey, coming in from what happened off of last season and kind of just opening up and them going to counseling, you can see that yeah, there are some things that may be happening, but we can't just say just so over yet. And while we're at the party, you know, we see the other husbands over in the corner conversating and talking, you know, explaining it's Miss Latrice's husband, you know, explaining to the other fellas about, you know, he can't talk to Glenn because if he does, then it's gonna cause her to, you know, act a certain type of way and all types of things. So you know, he's just trying to stay at a distance and keep things, you know, very peaceful. So then, baby, we go back to the girls, to the Bells, and they're talking in there, you know, having conversation. And the next thing you know, Miss Letitia's friend walks up, and while the Bells are talking, you know, she hugs me scared, but then she's like, oh, y'all, so let's talk. Talk about what, girl? And she was like, so yeah, Latrice, let's get down to it. Like, you and Letitia was friends, and she was there for you. She was your mentor. And now all of a sudden, you know, after what is done is done. And I'm just like, girl, whoa. It's too hot. This somebody else's party. You coming in dropping tea like that? You coming in? And let's just say our girl Miss Latrice was not having it. She said, "Excuse me, girl, why did you talk to me for? What did you talk? What did you? Then I gotta. You not my friend. You Letitia's friend, not my friend. So talk to Letitia, boo, not me." And the energy is giving very much so like, girl, wait, what's going on here? And you know, it's just seeming to cause a little shake up in the group. But y'all, we leave from that moment, we leave from that scene, and we go into our next scene, and it is our girl, Miss Letitia. Baby, so like I said, yes, we are with our girl, Miss Letitia, and guess what? She is having a meeting with her team for her show that we seen her shooting her pilot for, which was the Letitia Pearson show. And baby, you know, she has some heavy hitters, her mentor, her team, guests, and they're just talking about like the futures, the plans, and she's talking about, you know, the next move for her in her show. And baby, it's just that beautiful thing to see. And then her grand girl, Miss Shantae or Chantel, shows up. And baby, you know, she wraps up the meeting. She walks out. She walks out her team. She gives everyone hugs, and you know, she comes back in. And let's just say they just jump right on into the conversation. And she tells her, What was you thinking? Girl, what was going on? She was like, girl, you shouldn't have did that. That's not. And her friend girl was like, I know we friends. I know we don't do that. I know that's not how we roll. You grown, I'm grown. We take our own accountability for our own situations. And Miss Letitia had to explain to her, like, you don't understand what you have just caused, because she said she moving differently. She playing chess, not checkers, babe. And this just wasn't the vibe she was trying to give off. She said, because now it's going to cause a little bit more issues. And she said she don't want nobody thinking that, she can't stand up for herself, which is very understandable. And I think them having this conversation puts things a little bit more into perspective that, hey, she didn't send her to do that. She did that on her own free will. And I think them having this conversation lets her know, hey, in the future, let's not do that. As we go from that scene to our next scene. So yes, y'all. As we get into our next scene, it is our girl, Miss Latrice Rogers, and baby, she is at M Bar and Grill. If you know, you know, it's the place to be on Saturday nights and through the week, because the food be busting, the drinks be busting. Our girl Miss Latrice is meeting up with Miss Selena, and baby, when the Veils get together, when the Scorpio and the Libra get together, it's gonna be a good time. And our girl Miss Latrice, she sits down. She said her husband's gone out of town, baby, to Colombia, and when he be gone, she gets to spend a little bit more time with her girls and do what she wants to do. So hey, let's go out. Let's go have some drinks. Let's sit down. Let's catch up. Let's get into the tea. So, like I said, our girl Miss Selena joins her, and they hug. Miss Selena got her a bob, baby, serving it up on the girls, and they hug. And, they sit down, they check and chatting, and they having girl talk. And while the ladies are sitting there, Miss Amanda arrives. Now, if you guys are not familiar, Miss Amanda was from last season. A whole lot of drama, a whole lot of spoof. So, for to see her back in this picture now, there is a little bit more, I guess, going to be added to the story, or yeah, to the story of last season, just from like in this moment. And come to find out, the the ladies are talking, and they talking about being in Colombia and about Cliff cheating, and making sure he ain't got no other woman. And girl, Miss Latrice hurry up, put that in the bud. She called her man, he answered on that first ring. But then we also hear from like the other Bells and about like if they would let their man go on a trip to Colombia and all this. And I was just like, please don't let them become a passport, bro. Cause them men, them type of people, they is not, baby, they be want to go out, and they be giving a whole different type of set. That's all I must say. From what I've seen and what I've heard, it gets a whole different type of set. But Miss Selena does share with Miss Latrice that at her party that she is inviting these people, and she wants her to know that it's gonna be a place. And Miss Latrice just looks like she's just like, girl, I don't know about that. I don't, So, baby, yes. As we get into the next scene, it is the day of Miss Letitia's Friendsgiving brunch. And let's just say, baby, it is very beautiful and set up and decorated so well. Baby, we got the bells in the building. We got Miss Chantel. I want to say Chantel. Miss Chantel in the building to support. We got Miss Tamara Cherie, and she has flowers in her hand. And baby, let's just say she is bringing them in support of Miss Latrice, since she will not be in attendance, because she told Miss Tamara she will not be coming. And baby, you know, our girl Miss Carrie and Miss Shantae have a conversation. Miss Shantae does apologize for how she acted at the party. And baby, let's just say the bells is the dress head to toe. They finna serve it up at this Friendsgiving brunch. Come. And also, while we're at the Friendsgiving brunch, let's just say, the ladies are up talking. Like I said, Miss Marie Monroe comes in, and baby, she got on the leopard print with the Versace belt, serving on the girls. And she comes over and speaks to the lady. And let's just say they just jump right on into it and they like, so Carrie done told us the tea. She's like, what's the tea? I didn't tell Carrie anything. What's the tea? And Carrie says, you did tell it with your face. Girl, I asked you about you and said, was y'all together? And she said, girl, your face said it all. And Miss Carrie said, well, let's just be very clear. Miss Carrie not my PR, but she is a Scorpio. And one thing we are very attention to detail orientation. We gonna watch how people maneuver and move. Just saying, just Scorpio to Scorpio. And let's just say, Miss Marie just went on and said, baby, she's single again, and back on the prowl, thought it was perfect, I don't know how, wow, you know how they do, how they act with another, then they want you back. Whoop whoop. My still fat. Whoop whoop. He's still checking for me. You better know it, okay? But the girls is kicking and having a good time. We get on opening and the brunch gets started. Miss Letitia gives her introduction and her speech, and they serve the food and they have an open discussion about women doing business and what is the misconception, and we hear from many different ladies in the room in their avenues in the business of them working and just the misconceptions and the things that can go on. And our girl Miss Carrie dropped a word and she says, it's important in business to give grace. And baby, when she said that, it moved the room. Everybody was like, yes, Carrie, yes, I like that. I like that. She even tapped Miss Leticia and was like, girl, you gotta give grace, girl. So y'all, the brunch turned out to be very beautiful, and like I have said before, it was decorated so well. But y'all, as we go from that scene to our next scene. So yes, y'all. As we get into our next scene, baby, it is the men of the Bell Collective. It is Miss Carrie's husband and Miss Letitia's husband, and they are catching up, meeting up to play basketball a little one on one. After Miss Carrie party, her husband said she felt he felt like there was some tension, and he wants to be supportive of Lynn. From one married husband to another husband. You know, he gets it, and I'm gonna say this: I appreciate when y'all sprinkle in, the scenes of the men because a lot of men don't, I'm not gonna say don't have like a tribe, but I think it's just important for them to see like healthy male friendships and like healthy men that are in relationships, because it helps men understand that if you're going to be with someone and have a partner, that you have to have a healthy bond, and that yes, things are going to happen, but at the end of the day you can work things out if you have the people in your corner supporting and pushing you and wishing y'all the best. And I just think this was a very nice moment to see, and just to see them have like this one-on-one game and talk and play. It was nice. But yeah, as we go from that scene to our next scene. So yes, y'all, while we were at Miss Selena's party, it's a vibe. Very nice. It's decorated very well. Baby, the people is there, the music is there. And we see the bells come in. We see Miss Latrice, Miss Monroe, Miss Tamara Cherie, our girl Miss Carrie and her husband. We see Miss Letitia's husband, Glenn. He arrives. And everybody's just vibing, having a good time, eating, dancing, having a drinks or whatever. Now the birthday girl has not arrived yet, but she is on her way. And let's just say when she came in, baby, she made a grand entrance, baby. 50 and fine, baby. And Miss Linda don't even look 50. I'm just saying, she still give me like she in her good 30s, right? Okay. But she looks good. She got on her Jessica Rabbit dress, which Miss Carrie did say, and I was like, yes, girl, it's giving very Jessica Rabbit. It's very much so put me in the mind that, baby. And I got my man and his money too. Okay, it's just giving that vibe. But good time. You can tell the room is full of love. She's love. She goes over, she hugs the bells, and our girl Miss Letitia comes in just not arriving because she had some work to do. She was doing a little bit of bells buzzing, but she did arrive, and she told Glenn, "Hey, if he goes, let ladies know that she's coming, and that." it's going to be a turn up time. And so, baby, she pulls up, and we just see everybody together, mixing and mingling. But we do see Mr. Glenn go over to his wife, and he's trying to talk to her and see what kind of mood she's in. And she said she good, and he tried to kiss her, and she was like, and he was like, "Wait, my wife just." He was like, "I don't know," and he tells her that she's confusing him, and I'm like, yeah, there's some disconnect, and she says she can't pretend. And I mean, I don't blame her. I'm not gonna fake it either. Like, look here, you know what's going on. Yeah, we out in public. Yeah, but when we get home, you know what we got. And y'all, as we go from that scene in the party to our next scene in the party. So yes, y'all. As we get back to the party, the vibes is vibing. The people's having themselves a good time, baby. And our birthday girl, Miss Selena, her husband, fiance, he gets up on the mic, baby, gives her the biggest speech of appreciation and love, and lets her know that they locked in. And see, this is what I tell people. See, when you get a Scorpio and we fall in love, we in there. Okay, we ain't going nowhere because we there. And just to see the love that she received from him and from her guests at the party. And then she also gave out her bridal party invitations to Miss Tamara Cherie and Miss Latrice. Baby, just it was a full on celebration. Everybody was turning up. They was playing. Hey, I love the way she dumped it. Hey, okay, it was a vibe, having a good time. And then Miss Selena, after she gives her speech, she gives out her bridal party invitation. She pulls the bills outside, and she says for her birthday, all she wants the collective to do is actually just come together and be at peace and hash things out and move on to the next chapter. And so, baby, she said it. Miss Letitia opens up this conversation. She lets Miss Latrice know that she did not send her friend for her at the party or to do what she did. And let's just say Miss Latrice is like, girl, like I know what you've done. I know you did some other things. And that's when we find out that Miss Latrice says Miss Letitia tried to contact like one of her old employees. And baby, next thing you know, one word led to the next, one word led to the next. And then there was a beep. And then there was a what? And then there was a huh. And I said, oh, that's why this episode was called Run and Dead Bill. Oh, okay. Yeah, it has been your girl, Pretty Sexy Jara the brand, aka Stunner Assassin family. I cannot wait to see episode 3 of Bill Collective on. Mwah. Until next time, bye y'all.